Hey folks, Travis some more from Washington County, Texas. I'm going to talk to you about school boards in Texas, and this would apply similarly to school boards all across the United States. A lot of us have had trouble with our school boards being less than transparent and providing conflicting information. And we've had some problems here in Washington County. And I'm not going to name names or anything like that. I don't see a point in that, but there's been some miscommunication. And one of the problems we've seen in Texas, we have Texas Association of School Boards, which is a liberal group, a progressive thinking group. But most school districts around the state use them for things like superintendent searches, training of school boards, and they're a pretty liberal group. There is an alternative here in Texas called Texas Education for Excellence or something like that, TEE, and there are probably alternatives in other states. So let's take a look. I'm going to show you some documents and go through some things, take a few minutes. Let me switch over to my document. Okay, this is Travis. I'm back with you. Like I say, I'm Travis some more from Washington County, Texas. And this is an article I put together recently for discussion in our group, Citizens United for Brenham Schools. It's a very informal group. We don't even have any officers or organization. It's just a collection of people and we're using this term. And I'm going to talk about the Texas Education Code and application to the Brenham Independent School District issues and discussion. And once again, I'm not going to name names in the Brenham Independent School District or the school board. I'm going to talk about basically ideology and philosophy of management. And I'm not going to read this whole article to you. In the font, I have it in its 9 pages, and I'm going to not read it to you, but I'm going to hit some high points. Our previous superintendent resigned after a discussion about a $5.8 million deficit in his unsuccessful attempt to pass 2 school bonds. The chief financial officer also resigned. And we have an acting superintendent, and the school board tried to get to Texas. You'll see TASB in item 2 here. TASB, right? See if I can highlight it right there. TASB. That's the Texas Association of School Boards. But the school was using TASB, which is a very liberal organization, and I'll show you why I say that in a few minutes, a couple of different ways. They were trying to get them, they provide a service of a superintendent search. So if you want to make an application to be superintendent to a particular school district, you do it essentially to the school district, but then TASB provides a service for a few $1,000s where they'll compile all these applicants and they narrow it down for you and give you a few to choose from. And we didn't have too good of luck with the last choice. Our education or academic performance standards have gone down steadily the last few years. There's a problem with discipline in the schools and a lot of threatening, bullying. And so the school district has deteriorated, and we want to get it back up to a functioning, good system of education. So that's a little background there. And in one of their TASB articles I'll show you in a few minutes, they talked about citizen critics. The former president of TASB became the president of the National Association of School Boards or School Board Association, NSBA, and she is the one that wrote the letter to President Biden asking for help and declaring all the people that speak before the school boards to be domestic terrorists. So, once again, a little background, and I'll go over some more of that. But as I go through some of this, and it talks about the Texas Education Code, or I do, you'll see the school board has the exclusive power to and duty to govern and oversee the management of the schools in the district. And that's going to be pretty well true across all the United States, but particularly here in Texas. I'm going to keep all this in mind. I'm going to try to do this in about 10, 12 minutes and get through and show you some key points and references for you, whatever district you're in, to have is references for standing in discussion. And I'll go over some of this more, but the public holds the superintendent accountable via the school board. I've got that underlined right there. The like I say, the public will hold the superintendent accountable through the school board. We elect the school board, and the school board hires the superintendent. But there should be open communication. I'll show you the legal basis for that as we go through this. And what we've seen here in Texas, and I'll show you the facts on this, is that TASB and the people that provide the curriculum, even though the state of Texas passed a law where you cannot teach DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusiveness, and CRT, critical race theory, you can't teach those in Texas in public schools. They renamed some of them. Instead of critical race theory, they call it culturally relevant teaching, and it's the same material, and which is kind of sneaky and dishonest way to try to educate our kids. And right here, I've just got some things highlighted on the Texas Education Code, and it's only 106 pages. But I went through it and pulled out some things. You know, the trustees as a body corporate have the exclusive power and duty to govern and oversee the management of the public schools of the district, so they are accountable. And that's specifically delegated by statute, or not delegated by statute to the Texas Education Agency, or reserved for the trustees, and the agency may not substitute its judgment for the lawful exercise of those powers and duties by the trustees. So that emphasizes that duty with the trustees. Then they've got some shall here, and that's in red. The board shall establish working relationship with the public entities, and etc., and then establish performance goals for the district and hold the superintendent accountable. Okay, that's what that highlighted part is saying there. And this is, you know, part of the Texas Education Code, and all this is referenced. I'm going to provide some links for this. That's Texas Education Code 11.051A, and it goes through this. So, you know, you'll have these references where you can look them up yourself. And, you know, the monitor district finances and, you know, just basically the management of the district. And then they have a board may, that's, you can or cannot, you're not required to, but do these other things, levy taxes and assess and collect annual ad valorem tax for maintenance and operation of the district, etc. And then I'm going to show you this. I pulled this off the TASB website, which is pretty expensive, but this is published online in the TASB School of Law e-source. It's very difficult to find again, but I've got a copy of it, and I'll attach that. And, you know, it talks here, but as you go into the body of the first page, and this is kind of a difficult part to look at here. Let me see if I can get you a little better copy here. This is a little easier to look at. You know, they have the introduction. The header here shows TASB and roles and responsibility of individual school board members. And like I said, it's published online at TASB School Law e-source. And you got a little introductory paragraph. And then it has like equivalent of a full page talking about the limits of free speech. Now, why in the world would they want to talk about limiting free speech? They really don't like to have what they call citizen critics. And I got it highlighted right there. I'm moving my cursor around it, highlighted in yellow. The Supreme Court has observed the interest of the public in hearing all sides of a matter of public concern would not be advanced by extending more free speech protection to citizen critics than to public officials. Instead, the public benefits by knowing what the government officials think, so the public can judge whether the elected officials are truly the best people to represent them, and it references Bond versus Floyd. Y'all look up Bond versus Floyd, 385 U.S. 116 from 1966. It's about a professor being able to talk about and criticize the Vietnam War. It has nothing to do with how to manage your individual school districts. And I'm going to show you Saul Alinsky's 13 Rules for Radicals here in a minute, and you'll see from that this is typical deflection and distraction. Let me go on and show you that real quick. That's a powerful connecting point. And this reference here is from Wikipedia. I got the link there. And I'm talking about citizen critics. And number 13, pick a target. Let me highlight that for you. Pick a target, freeze it, personalize it, and polarize it. They pick a target. The target, by using the term citizen critics, are the citizens coming before the school board to make public comment. Freeze it, your citizen critics. Personalize it, that's personal, and polarize it. You will polarize your community by saying those people that come and speak critically of the management of the school are citizen critics. That's a dismissive and demeaning term, and just doesn't need to be used. But if you're trying to figure out where they get this kind of ideology, this is where it comes from, okay? And I'm going to go ahead and show you something else. TASB, Statement of Beliefs. This is on the website today, TASB.org. Let me pull this up a little bit. There, you can see the website link up there, TASB.org, about -TASB mission statement of beliefs. And look at the last bullet point down there. We believe in or are committed to supporting diversity, equity, and inclusion, promoting dignity and mutual respect, trying to eradicate systemic racism, and provide an opportunity for all. That does not meet the community standards of Washington County. The state of Texas, in fact, the state of Texas has stated that you can't teach that, but it's still on the TASB Association of School Boards Statement of Beliefs. You know, I find that to be quite inappropriate. I'll let you make your own decision. Let me get back to my document here. I promise you I'm not going to read this document. But there's that part. And then my comments, I talk about that the case law they quoted doesn't even apply. And I reference there about the rules for radicals. You know, pick the target, freeze it, personalize it, polarize. You know, and I've got the documentation here, or the link, where the former TASB president, Viola M. Garcia, wrote the famous letter from the National School Board Association calling people that speak at school boards domestic terrorists and having the FBI investigate us. So that's what that is. And I say bottom line up front, Bluff, the school district officers need to abide by the request of the community for effective teaching, discipline, and management of the schools. And I think there are thousands of us around the state who are confronting these issues on the school boards and management that are following the TASB ideology and philosophy that, you know, we need to stop that. And the only way we can do that is confronting them and then voting them out. And we can vote them out. So one of the things, somebody made a statement to us, well, they can't fire the teachers. And that's not true. And here's the Texas Education Code, 21.211, termination or suspension. Right here, the first rattle out of the box. The Board of Trustees may terminate a term contract and discharge a teacher at any time for good cause as determined by the board, or it lists some other things. And it also goes in and, you know, and they have a right to appeal, and they've got applicability, how it applies to superintendents, and I'm not going to read all this. The Texas Education Code, 21.459, allows for Bible course training. And it says there, understanding how to present the Bible in an objective academic manner that neither promotes nor disparages religion nor is taught from a particular sectarian point of view, and how expertise in how to avoid devotional content or proselytizing in the classroom. So they don't want you to witness or preach to the kids, but that's okay. They at least allow for the academic study of the Bible, and a lot of that's being missed, around the state. And then I have a summary here. And like I said, here for our district, we have some good people on the school board as trustees, and we need to support them as they work within the legal framework framework to dilute the past autocratic, progressive manner of school board leadership. And that leadership has stated openly that they're in with TASB and they think TASB is the way to go. If you associate with TASB, like I was showing you a minute ago, in their beliefs, they believe in DEI and CRT, and that is not our community standards. Those people worked their way into our school district and our school boards and took positions of leadership, and we disagree with them. And so I'm showing you all this to show you, one, as citizens, we need to study the Open Meetings Act, the Texas Education Code here in Texas, or your education code in whatever state you're in, and learn about these rules so you don't just get up there and say, hey, school board, I don't like what you're doing. And, if they ask you a question or give a response, it's just like in the Bible it says, be prepared to give a defense of your faith. If you're going to give a defense of, I don't like what you're doing, have some awareness of legal standing for what the school board has the authority to do and what the state allows, such as giving authority for management to the school board. Some of them are confused about that. They believe that all management should be left to the superintendent. We just hire him. And if there's anything wrong with the school district, well, it's that superintendent's fault. The state says the school board has the ultimate authority and responsibility for proper management of that district. So they cannot deflect and diminish your statement, and they cannot deflect all the responsibility to a superintendent. That's improper. Stand up, raise your hand, say, my foul, let's correct this. You got to recognize a problem before you can fix it and be bold about it. You got to say, hey, yeah, we have a problem, we recognize that, and let's work together and fix it. We've got incredible businessmen and women in this county where I'm at offering to help. So far it's been turned down for the most part by the school board leadership, not all the trustees and not all of the other people involved, but that leadership is, no, we've got this, and pretty well blowing off all the good concerned people that are willing to help. Like I say, incredible businessmen and women, just incredible. We have an alternative here in Texas called Texans for Excellence in Education, TEE. And when you look at these folks, you can go to their website and look and see what they've got. And, they have a mission statement, committed to delivering a high-quality education. Okay, that's good. But, I want you to look at this. I've got it highlighted in blue just above where you see me. This includes ensuring that our school policies are in line with the needs of the students in the district and not driven by political agendas. The DEI and CRT are political agendas that have nothing to do with education. They create divisiveness or divisiveness. They divide the students by telling the white kids, well, you're bad because you're white, and your people have oppressed the blacks. We went through all this in the 60s. We worked through the civil rights thing, and we were all getting along pretty good. But politicians and the liberals, they can't stand that. They've got to create tension and division, so they'll have some made-up platform to stand on, which all goes back to, once again, Saul Alinsky's 13 Rules for Radicals. That's where these people come from in their thinking, and it says his rule number 4 there, make the enemy live up to his own book of rules. That's why I'm saying get to know your education code, your Open Meetings Act for your state, your area, so that you have a way to respond and tell, no, you're wrong or you're inaccurate. And we do have a right to say this, and we have, like here in our community, you're supposed to give 2 weeks prior notice if you're going to get something on the agenda. So you need to get an email to them about 3 weeks ahead of time that I want a particular item on the agenda, like violence in the bathrooms, and I want to have an open discussion about that, a back and forth discussion. There's two things here on the school boards here. We have a right for public comment. You get limited to 3 minutes, and they generally limit it to about 10 people. So you can get up, you can speak to them during the public comments, but by their own rules, they cannot respond back. So you get up there and you say your piece for 3 minutes, you make your statement, but they're not even allowed to respond back in that section called public comments. However, if 3 weeks in advance you request and they add a discussion to the agenda, violence in the bathrooms, then when you get up and you have your 2 or 3 minutes, you're able to make your comment, they have a responsibility to respond to you. And it may just be, hey, we'll look into it. But if they keep blowing you off, they're going to look bad in the public. Like, you can get up and say, hey, we've been asking for a solution or a plan. What's your plan? And they will be needed. So that make the enemy live up to his own book of rules, that can be played both ways. Okay? But we got to be prepared. We can't just get up there and say, well, I don't like you. You're short and fat, and I don't think you should be on the school board. That ain't going to cut it. If you want to really get into it and accomplish a goal to reduce violence in the bathrooms, then you've got to understand how you can ask a question and how you can require an answer. Okay? And it says ridicule is the most potent weapon. When TASB put in their roles and responsibility for school boards, and they said no more free speech than for other people, for citizen critics, they were ridiculing the people that get up and speak in school boards. Why call them citizen critics? You know, it's citizens commenting, you know, and there's no defense. Well, I'm saying there is. You can reference Saul Alinsky's Rules for Radicals, say, we disagree with you and we see where you're getting this idea. And it's almost impossible to counteract ridicule. It says right there. Also, it infuriates the opposition, who then react to your advantage. So if I get up there real angry and I'm pounding my fist on the table, you know, you stupid, short, fat people are calling us citizen critics, then I'm making I could say I'm making a fool out of myself. You know, however you want to say it. If I show I'm just infuriated and I'm just going like, you know, you're bad. Well, you got to be able to say why you think they're wrong. And, you know, they talk about keep the pressure on, the threats more terrible, all that. But if you push a negative hard and deep enough, it will break through into its counter side. And that's like critical race theory. If you push a negative hard enough, deep enough, it will break through into the counter side. That's teaching that white kids are bad, and that creates divisiveness in the classroom between the white kids and black kids, and white kids are feeling embarrassed. We've had one of our folks that showed up at one of our meetings was relating a little girl just hung her head, oh, I'm white. Wrong. The white kids, black kids, Hispanic, Asian should all be able to hold their head up proud and say, I'm part of this school district, and I'm part of Texas, and we're all together. That's where we need to be. We don't need to be saying one race or ethnic group is better or worse than the other. That doesn't cut it. We're Texans, okay? So let's join together and do that and get away from this baloney, these Saul Alinsky-minded people. And really, that's about the main parts that I have. Like I said, on this TEE, Texans for Excellence in Education, look around. If you're not in Texas, another state, see if you got a counterpart, or call these people and see, hey, have you got a counterpart in Kansas or wherever you're at, and you're having trouble with your school district. We can do better. So let's get together and work on this stuff. I'll tell you, I've got some affiliate links at the bottom. You'll see those, but I don't do ClickFunnels. If you want some of the things I've got on my affiliate links, take a look at them. They're pretty self-explanatory. Take a look at them. I appreciate it. But the main thing is here, let's work on these schools and try to make our schools better for the kids. Man, we've had business people complaining they're hiring people who graduated from high school here and they can't read and do basic math in business. I'm talking about like reading the labels for a plumbing company. Yeah, you know, if you hand them a can of something and said, read the instructions on this, and they can't read, and they graduated from your high school, I mean, that's sad. At the community college here, or one of the colleges, they're having to mentor and tutor kids in how to read and do basic math so they can take the college courses. Come on, we can do better than that. All right, you guys have a good day, and I will, in this video, I will have a Dropbox link for this article that I showed you, and it will include, I'll make sure in the bottom of that article I've got these other links. So you'll be able to find all this material I've shown you here. Have a great day.